Hello, today I'm trying to make a video about the Audiopipe TXX BD3 subwoofer. Now myself, I use most of my subwoofers in a home audio setting, and I still use a lot of the car subwoofers. I find them to be quite adequate to use them in the home as well. There's nothing wrong with having fun with a subwoofer. It doesn't matter whether it be a pro audio or a home audio or a car audio subwoofer. You can have fun with them all. In any event, I've used a lot of these 15-inch subwoofers, and as far as the Audiopipe is concerned, the surround going around the unit is fairly beefy, and I would say almost as beefy as the Sherwin Vega Stroker, which I have used myself. It's beefier than the Power Acoustic by far, as far as the surround is concerned. Well, the rest of it too, but the surround is beefier, and speaking about the surround only, it's a very good surround. I was actually a lot more impressed with the look and feel of this subwoofer when it arrived than what I've seen in pictures. In any event, I decided to give the Audiopipe a go because I was looking at these online for the longest time, and I got enough, finally, it took a while, but I got enough input from a number of other people who said that these were a good sound quality subwoofer, as well as a subwoofer that was capable of deep low and loud bass. One thing I actually didn't like about it in the pictures also was the big AP in the center. I don't really like subwoofers that cover the whole subwoofer with the name brand. And I was thinking, well, when I got it, I could just cut out the cap and replace the cap with a standard cap if I wanted to. But to tell you the truth, now that it's here, it doesn't bother me as much as I thought it would. It actually doesn't look too bad. It looks better in person than it does in the pics, in other words. The cone itself, you can probably hear me tapping on it. This cone is very, very rigid. Very rigid, very tough. When you press on it, when you go all the way around, it doesn't flex a lot. The whole cone moves up and down in unison. It's a good, sturdy cone. And if you come over to the back of the unit, here you can see the magnet structure. The magnet structure is pretty huge for a subwoofer. It's a 220 ounce magnet, triple stacked. It's got venting in the back through the pole, that's standard. It's got a vent here, as you can see, and a vent here. All the way around, there's 4 of them for vents. And actually, if you peek inside there, that 3.3-inch 4-layer voice coil looks very tasty indeed. It looks very impressive. If you come in and look underneath where the spider is, and there's no point in me trying to get close with the camera or anything, but it's stupid, but just to take my word for it, if you look around where the spider is glued to the cone and former, it is very well glued. If you look at it, there's a lot of glue there. It's not underglued. I peeked underneath here. The same goes for underneath the spider. It is very well glued, so they didn't take a little dab and did an undergluing like can happen on even some expensive subwoofers where you find your subwoofer separating from the spider. The basket itself is standard Audiopipe. They like to use all these half pipes all the way around the subwoofer, half pipe. 4 of them all together, another half pipe. It is a sturdy frame. Like maybe there is a solider frame that has more, but I believe this is a sturdy frame, and that it would have no problem in handling what the subwoofer can do. One thing I noticed about it, I'm not sure if there's ring cone kits or anything, but in this version of subwoofer, the spider ring is screwed down all the way around. It's not just glued in, or if it is glued in, I don't even know. But it is screwed down, so it may make it easier for getting in, and for do-it-yourselfers, if you like to fix subwoofers, if you've abused them, you can probably get in and fix it a lot easier than other subwoofers, because the whole, there's a ring here that is screwed down, so I believe that might come up. I'm not sure, it may be glued. I'm not taking it apart to find out, but I'm just making an assumption that because it has the screws there, that it may not be glued that heavily. Either that or the extra screws, if anything. If it is both screwed and glued, the fact that these are screwed down will make it that much more stronger, and less likely that you're going to get a tear in your spider when it starts going. You know, I have used the Rockford Fosgate T2 subwoofer as well. It doesn't have this extra ring where it's screwed down like this subwoofer and some others have. And some people have managed to tear them, I don't know how, in their car or whatever. I've never come near it myself, but some people have managed to tear the spider. I've never done it. The ones that have probably just been going too far. You know, you just, rather than go too far with one subwoofer, you know, if you need that much more, well, go with 2. And if you want to get crazy, we'll go with 4, or etc. You know, but don't blow a subwoofer for nothing, especially an expensive brand, because they're not cheap. Now, this one is a dual 4-ohm sub. The tinsel leads aren't woven in the spider. They're just out. You know, while they're attached to it, but like they're not woven or hidden inside. It's got little Allen wrenches for securing. They're good. It'll secure the wire so they won't come out. You know, and they'll take, I'm not sure, about up to 8 AWG wire in the bottom. Yeah, no problem. Take up to 8 AWG wire in the bottom, and you can wire these for dual 2 or dual, or a 2 ohm or 8 ohm, or power each coil at 4 ohm individually. Yeah, and it's weighs in at about a hefty 32 pounds. And as you can see here, if you want to get a better view of the front, I can try and get closer. Again, I don't have the best camera in the world, and I'm just fooling around trying to make a YouTube video for some fun to do, and so people can see this without being exactly in a stock picture. You know, like stock pictures, it's hard to get a good idea of what you're getting half the time. You know, it does have a good, if you look around this piece of rubber that covers the ring here, you know, that folds over and will automatically, when you screw your subwoofer down, you'll have a good seal. See, this comes off. You could probably take it right off if you wanted to, but like I say, this comes up and over and makes a good seal when you screw it down on the surface. So that's sort of a good feature in a way, because a lot of subwoofers just have sort of some type of softer material, and every time you lift your subwoofer up or take it out or reinstall it somewhere, you've got to fix your material here, because it tends to get worn, flattened, and teared. What looks to be here on the top of the magnet, it looks like there's actually something maybe similar to the Rockford, I'm not sure, but there's a sort of a heat sinking ring here, probably to help get rid of some of the extra heat that might be around the coil when pushing this thing to high levels. It's rated at 1200 watts at 2400 max. With my experience with subwoofers, you know what? I don't think I'm going to argue with them. It's going to be pretty close to that. You know, and I know a lot of people like, you know, oh yeah, Audiopipe, that's flea market stuff, that's garbage, that's this, that's that. You know what? Sometimes you got to try stuff before you sit there and dish things out like that. A lot of people, so many, got bad things to say about subwoofers that they've never even tried, you know. Just because they're sold on a name brand or whatever. There's a lot of good subwoofers, and believe me, I was as skeptical of Audiopipe as anyone else. But the very inexpensive price, of a very high quality, what appeared to be a high quality woofer, drew me in. It sucked me up, you know. And I read enough. At first, what I seen a lot of was I seen a lot of information on the internet that Audiopipe was winning SPL competitions all over the planet, you know, and beating out all kinds of major brands. And although I like the idea of the Audiopipe being able to do that, I'm not really an SPL person. I like good sound quality. That's what I'm really out for. And I do like a lot of power and good bass and loud bass. But I'm a sound quality person, not an SPL person. But it's nice to know that your subwoofer is capable of SPL, right? It just means that it's going to be a strong subwoofer, and it's going to be less likely to blow under use in normal conditions rather than the extreme abuse of competition subwoofer use. Which really, what competition subwoofer using is, it's abuse. I guess that's about as much as that I can say about this AP unit. What I'm going to be doing is, well, I'm using so many subwoofers right now, I don't have a box for these. So I'm going to be taking a couple of my Power Acoustic Mofo 154Xs out of their 4 cubic foot box. And I'm going to replace them with these, and I'm going to break these in for about a couple weeks. I'm not going to play them too loud. I'm going to play everything else the way I normally do, but I'll turn the my amplifier settings down on these for a couple weeks and just let them you know, break in a bit. But like I say, it's from coming in, it really looks like a good subwoofer to me. I can't wait to start hearing it. It's you know, like I say, it's 32 pounds when it comes. It's it's heavy, it's big, it's strong. It's basically where I like them. At about 32 pounds is usually the indication of a fairly good quality subwoofer, you know, that is capable of handling power and going up from there. And the only reason I say that is because the Serwin Vega strokers I have, well, they were 35 pounds. The Power Acoustic Mofos were 31 or 32. The Rockford T2s were over 60 pounds. Crazy heavy. I don't think a subwoofer has to be that heavy, though. I think that there's come a diminishing point in return where if a subwoofer is going to handle a heavy amount of power, you know, heavy gobs and gobs of power like the Orion HCCA subwoofer or something, you start getting into huge weights for very small increments of power increase, you know. Like really, like, you know, add 50 pounds to the sub to get an extra like 500 watts. You know, it starts to get a little bit ridiculous. If that's what you want, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that the point of diminishing returns comes in, I think, somewhere around, you know, a 200 to 300 ounce magnet, you know, a 3-inch to 4-inch 4-layer coil, you know, and a good 15-inch sturdy subwoofer and cone or whatever. I personally like the 15s over all the 12s and 10s. I've learned that displacement is very important. If you want good bass, get a 15. Better get 2, right? If you can fit them. You're going to love having a 15. An 18, well, sure. If you can fit an 18 or you want 18s in your house, you can get them. It's just that they're a lot harder to move around. You're going to probably want to leave them in one place. Because once you put an 18 in a box, they're very big and awkward to try and move. But what I find with 15s, doesn't matter what box you put them in, big or small, you can still move the thing around pretty good because the box is never more than, you know, and the subwoofer is never more than 60 to 100 pounds, you know. But anyway, that's my homemade video. I didn't do an unboxing video because I think it's sort of stupid to take the subwoofer out of the package. And if you're going to do a little YouTube presentation on the subwoofer, you should speak your mind about the subwoofer and have it out of the package, because really the packaging doesn't mean nothing. It does come well packaged and protected. Your subwoofer will no doubt arrive okay. Let's see, I got one here. I got 2 of them. I got another one coming. I do everything in stereo, so if I'm going to try a subwoofer, I have to buy at least 2. And myself, because I use them for home audio use, I always get the dual 4-ohm coil, because what I do is I run 1 amp bridged on every subwoofer, and I run it at an 8 ohm load because I want minimal distortion, and when I want to crank these suckers up, I want good resistance, and I don't want to worry about my amp blowing, I don't want to worry about my sub blowing. I just want good, clean power pushing the subwoofer with the least amount of distortion. And yeah, you can get away with that by using pro amps in a home audio setting, by going into an 8 ohm load. You can go in a 4 ohm mode too. There's actually not a lot of difference between using an 8 and a 4 ohm load. The big difference is if you're bridging. You can never bridge into a 4 ohm load, in my opinion, or go into a 2 ohm load, because your amplifier is going to blow and your sound is going to be way less than it could be. 2 ohm, you may as well throw your manufacturer specifications out the window as far as amplifiers are concerned. You start exceeding 1% and higher rates of distortion using 2 ohm load. It's a big popular thing, I know, in the car audio industry to go to 2 ohms because you're limited to 12 volts, and you got to add more alternators, and you got to add more batteries to get your power. But in the home audio setting, hey, run a few extra 15 amp lines from your panel or 20 amp lines, and you get yourself some pro audio amplifiers, and you can power a lot of subwoofers up. I prefer to use 1 amp per subwoofer pretty much. Unless it's a very big amp, I'll go left and right stereo. If I got at least 1,000 watts RMS, I'll go left and right stereo with an amp, right? Anything less than that, I tend to want to bridge the amplifier into the subwoofer, and so I can get maximum power into an 8 ohm load. And that's just the way I do it. Not everyone has to do it my way. A lot of people don't because it's cheaper. It's cheaper to go into 2 ohm loads because you don't need as many amplifiers or whatever. You can hook up more items to 1 amp. But in the long run, it just needs more wear and tear. You end up never saving any money. You can't win. You're better off just keeping your loads easy to use and buying more amps. In the long run, you're going to be a winner as far as saving money is concerned. I currently use approximately 11 amplifiers in my system just to power the subwoofers, and some of them are in bridge mode, and a couple of them are in stereo mode, but for the most part they're all in bridge mode. And that's about it anyway. So I hope you enjoyed my homemade video of the subwoofer. I think I did a pretty good job in explaining what it's like. It's Audiopipe, and I think it's going to be very good. I'm not expecting it to be bad because I've already tried the Audiopipe TXX APA 10th anniversary edition with the blue cone, the blue one-piece cone. I thought it was rated at 1,000 RMS, 2,000 peak, and I found it to be very good sound quality subwoofer. Actually, not that bad, Like it wasn't good, as good as my Cerwin-Vega Stroker or my my Rockford Fosgate T2, but it was a good subwoofer for like $140 that I paid for it. You know what I mean? Like crap, Not a bad subwoofer at all, and with 1,000 RMS, you ain't gonna blow it. And like I say, this bad boy even gets worse. Yeah. So we'll look forward to putting these in the boxes and trying them out. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you got any questions, feel free to ask them, and try and be nice to me, eh? No smart comments out there, eh? Okay. Have a good one, boys and girls.